Hi, everybody. This is Spines and Headlines. And those of you who catch us live, it's not a Monday, it's a Sunday.
Sorry
And
about that.
and again, those of you who are watching this, because now we're on Spotify as well, so you can listen to us. But if you are watching, let's make a reference to your lovely view, Kirstin, and why is it Sunday? And why the view?
I've got the lovely morning sun in my face, even though it's the afternoon in the UK. I'm in San Francisco for work, so tomorrow I'll be very, very busy, so I won't be able to do spines and headlines. But we decided to make this podcast so global, and we're doing it on Sunday, a Sunday morning for me and a Sunday afternoon for you. So
It is
welcome.
international, and we
Yeah.
welcome people from wherever. All I can offer for those watching is my dog, who is not allowed on these pillows behind me. So she's not there. So if you haven't joined us before, I am Emma Rosen, children's and non-fiction author, and I am joined by
Kirstin McNeil, children's author and publisher,
we
and
have
welcome to Spines and Headlines.
yeah, we've got so much to talk about
Yeah.
today. But as always, let's start with a word of the week. What exotic word do you have for us
Oh
today,
gosh.
Kirsten?
Oh my God. Can you do yours first? Because I haven't thought of mine.
Okay. All right. I'm going to go with the word exciting because
Ooh.
I know one of the things I've been doing this week is planning my Kickstarter for my upcoming book, which is, we call it Dogs in Containers. The reason it's called Dogs in Containers is that it's a children's book, but it's dogs in things. So it's like one, whatever, in a whatever. I don't want to give too many hints right now.
Mm.
So it's a really lovely counting book for children, and it's going to be launched with a Kickstarter. And so this week I have been planning out the different tiers that we're going to offer for that. And it's just really exciting thinking about this campaign, which will be running in April. So I've also been speaking to Rhiannon, the illustrator, because I'm going to need certain bits and pieces of the artwork and things for all the promotional stuff. So there's been lots of excited conversations between me and her about what we could do and just lots of fun ideas. So I'm just very excited about lots of things, but that's been a big one this week.
That's really good to know. And as someone who's also been through a Kickstarter, contain that excitement, and I'll remind you in March, April that you were really excited about
Oh,
this. This is a really good
mid-April.
idea.
Yeah, mid-April. I won't want to talk about it.
Well, that's good. I think my word of this past week has been optimistic, because the selfies are actually happening, which is great. And I've done another submission for another award, and we'll talk a bit about that later.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm sort of optimistic as a self-published author should be,
Yeah.
when this kind of thing happens, because we were very worried about
Yeah.
the state of um, potential awards that we could apply for. But first, we are going to talk about the Department for Education. There was, I must cite this article because this is where we've got most of our information. There was an article in Schools Week that highlighted, basically listed all of the new curriculum, sort of drafters for the new curriculum. So, and also highlighted this issue. So, what's happening just overall, just broadly, is the new national curriculum is being just redrawn, rewritten, and they have appointed, I think it's 43 different, 46 experts of education, for the different subjects to help draft this new curriculum. And it has been raised that for English, not only are there only two compared to 10 for PE, I think there's about five for computing. I'm just looking on here. Art and design have three. Science have quite a lot, which is good. There are two, and they're both white men who are from trusts, schools trusts. And so the concern is that there is not enough diversity of thought and also diversity of people in the room making the decisions about the curriculum. And there's a concern that that's going to have a massive impact, trickle down impact on the decisions that are made around what you're learning, what books you're reading, etc., what gets stocked, what gets funding. So, Emma, as someone in education, my question to you is: should we be concerned about this? How does this impact authors and illustrators? So, over to you.
I think for me, in terms of education, for anyone new to what I do, I am also a science teacher in secondary schools. The deprofessionalization of teachers and moving to a more and more prescriptive curriculum, and the fact that we saw in 2012 the General Teaching Council was abolished. Their powers were moved to the Teaching Regulation Agency. So what they do is they maintain a sort of record of teachers that are practicing, and they deal with things like uh, if teachers have done things that they shouldn't do, that kind of regulation around professional conduct and things like that. And we've seen the curriculum move where now we've got these grades 1 to 9 instead of A to E. We also have seen certain courses got rid of. So, for example, one of the courses I taught was human biology A level, which was a course I really enjoyed. I was one of the few teachers at my school that was on that teaching on that course. And it was a lovely course for students who were not interested in ecology or plants, or, meant they could just focus on what they needed. So maybe nurses or physiotherapists, like these kinds of students. And very accessible for people who wouldn't be interested in all the other stuff. And it was felt that this course overlapped. So it was got rid of so that we have these limited courses. My point really is that these decisions are made often for political reasons. They're not informed by what teachers are seeing, what's happening on the ground, and that with so if you look at something like nursing or lawyers, doctors, their governing bodies tend to be research based, and you'll see them responding to political situations saying, well, no, we have found this. And whereas with teaching we get that from unions, and unions are
Mm,
a very different thing to a professional body. Our professional body, this teaching regulations authority or agency, I forget what it stands for, they are, as I say, they're more about regulating us rather than saying this is what education should be. And what I would rather have seen in this curriculum reform is a situation whereby if we had a professional body, you have a research based thing happening from lots of people from lots of different kinds of schools and years of research. But sadly, what happens is things like this. They put
mm,
out a tender, I believe,
yeah.
uh, which, I mean, I've been a teacher for 17, 18 years. I didn't see this. And so some people applied. It just so happens that for whatever reason, the people doing English is two white men from multi academy trusts. The thing about multi academy trusts is that they tend to have very prescriptive teaching. So as a creative as well, my teaching style is very around, let's have fun with this, let's come up with some kooky ideas. Hey, I've written a song about periods. True story that I
Love
did
that
make.
song. Love it.
So, but it's not like, well, we have to start every lesson with 10 questions and then we move on. Like, I've taught lessons where you have a booklet, and every lesson it's like, open the next page, and we start by
Mm,
reading a section, and then we highlight this, and then we read that, and who learned, who cares, who
mm,
remembers any of this? So, if we have a particular kind of person informing changes around curricula, for example, making an assumption, I don't know anything about these two men who are changing the English curriculum, but for example, if they are people who are not going to champion diverse voices, if they're going to go for quite old school texts, if they're going to look at a way of teaching that's not thinking about how young people learn right now,
yeah.
and things like 1 in 3 children being ethnically diverse, about neurodiversity, all of the different things happening in the classroom, and they're going to be informed by a very prescriptive teaching method in the trust they teach in. it's just not what should be happening. And for me as a teacher, unfortunately, I've got to the point where I just go, yeah, I'm not surprised. And that's
And
sad.
and I think the other thing that this article calls out is that there aren't enough names on that list that are still active teachers. And like by active teachers, those that are, in a position where they are teaching for the majority part of their day, 5 days a week. These people are in management positions that are potentially, they're not regularly teaching, they're not regularly seeing how children learn these days. So the other concern is that this is already going to be out of date by the time they issue it. And they really need to think about how this is going to have a level of flexibility in order to adapt to this really fast pacing world that our children who are being educated are being thrown into. And I think that's the other concern as well. So I think what can we as creatives do about that apart from complain about it? Are there anything are there things that we can be doing right now? What would you suggest, Emma?
I suppose the difficult thing for me is, as someone who's been in education, and I actually left when I started my business as an author, it coincided with my youngest child being one and me being completely disillusioned by
Mm,
education because of all these changes. So the 1 to 9 grading system came in 27. I left teaching in 2018. I went back to it again about 4 or 5 years ago, but it's so frustrating working in that industry where you just have to toe the line, and you can see bad decisions that take away from what most teachers want to do is get to know their students, know how they
mm,
learn, come up with something that works for me as an individual, because my teaching style is radically different to someone with a different personality,
yeah.
and my students, and come up with something that works, and to teach things that excite me, and then within the boundaries of what the curriculum is. And I think, as I say, as a teacher, I feel very much like very powerless, because all we have is the unions. We don't have a research based side of
Mm,
things, which is what's needed. And I think for me, with my author hat on and with my teacher hat on, all I can say, I think all we can do is have an opinion, express an opinion, vote.
mm.
uh I, I mean, as authors, we get the opportunity of going into schools and doing whatever we want because it's not my future. So,
More
there is
children,
that.
more author visits, please, for all
Yeah,
schools. That's what we're saying. Get more author visits in.
that's it.
Authors
What do
for
you
hire
think?
here. Yeah, I think at the moment it's sort of discussing it, voicing it, asking people in education about it, and just sharing as much as possible your views and how we can sort of um, keep a positive attitude on this because and I really like the fact that this has been called out so early. So yeah, I think you're right. Just get more authors into schools.
Yeah. I mean, if Kirstin and I ran the world, there'd be authors in every day,
Which
and,
yeah, the
education would
world
be run.
yeah, the world would be run by librarians, I think. Get a librarian in.
Do you want to hear my unhinged scheme that I think that
Of course.
running the government, the world, the country, however I feel like it should be like jury service. You
Yeah,
get 2 weeks, you get a go,
yeah.
and then at least if you're rubbish, you're out.
Or the Prime
Yeah.
Minister needs to do a year, and they need to do a certain amount of weeks in each public
Oh
service
goodness.
job. So like they have
Yes.
to do at least 2 years maybe that and they have to do um a month as a nurse and a month as a cleaner and a teacher, and they basically have to do all these jobs and have a good assessment of these jobs, like be good at them, like be actually understand them in order to be prime minister, because it's
Yeah.
just those decisions, and that's the concern, is that you need to be in the room where it happens. Hamilton quote, because I saw Hamilton last week. You need to be in the room where it happens in order to make change. And if they keep on closing doors to the different voices,
Mhm.
that's that. we are having to trust those people to work harder to represent those voices. And I think,
Mhm.
if history, has anything to go by, that doesn't happen without people voicing their opinions
Yeah.
strongly.
Absolutely. Have an opinion, write to your MP. I think a lot of
Hmm.
people just think, what's the point? But if everyone thinks, what's the point, then nothing happens. So
Hmm.
we do need to stand up for whatever it is we believe in. And of course, people might think differently to us, but it's if people don't voice what they think, then nothing ever changes and you're not represented. So yeah.
Correct.
We talked, oh gosh, was it in our first episode or our
It
second? I don't
was.
remember. It was our very
It was the
first.
first episode. We're a
We
bit
talked
ragey.
we talked about specifically the Selfies Award as an award which you've been shortlisted for twice.
Yep.
Twice.
I've got a
And
100% record for being shortlisted because I only shortlisted my last two books.
yeah, I have a 0%. I've entered two, three times and haven't shortlisted at all, but that's okay. I think I said in that one that I feel like this is my year, and
Yeah,
I'm really
I agree.
disappointed to not for it not to be running, because if it doesn't run, I can't enter. I'll never know. I mean, we might come back in 6 months and I'll say it wasn't my year. That's okay.
It's great.
But we got an email and it's happening. It's go
It's
time,
happening.
Kirstin.
I know.
So
It's great.
what do we do? Let's go.
I love how, obviously it was our podcast that
Yes.
made this happen. We're just going to claim that. And Emma
Yeah.
made a prediction, and I'm not going to say what the prediction was, but Emma made a prediction in that first episode about what she thought would happen in the selfies. And if that happens, I will basically cut that voice note of Emma going, this is I thought would happen. That would be wonderful. So people who are running the selfies are obviously watching this. So go back
Hi.
and make
Hi.
that come true, please.
Yeah.
Um, so just quick reminder, the Selfies Awards are probably one of the more prestigious, trusted awards, and I think are the only awards that are sort of nationally shown, that are specifically for independent authors and self-published authors.
Yeah.
And the reason why, and it's also, I don't think this is happening this year. I think the awards are going to be separate from the London Book Fair, but it was
Yeah.
at the London Book Fair, the first night they would have the awards, and the London Book Fair, the first day was always quite dedicated to self-published authors, where I think now they have self-publishing sort of talks throughout the whole week, which is great, which shows a rise in the need and a rise in the popularity of publishing indie. Um, and the reason why we were so annoyed was because there are a lot of awards out there for self-published authors, but a lot of them they feel very scammy. They're not scammy, but some of them are, but some
Summer.
of them feel really scammy. Some of them feel like, are you just paying for an award? There's one in particular, I won't name it, but it has like a bronze, silver, and gold. And whatever you pay is you get, like, if you pay more, you get the gold. And that's
Yeah.
not how awards work. So how are you allowing yourself to call yourself an award? So the selfies was very, very much one of the only ones that was um was very I guess protected from all of that, and it had a bit of prestige to it. And so we were very disappointed when we thought they weren't going to happen. They are happening. Don't know why they're happening a bit later. Don't care. Um,
Yeah.
so don't care. So I'm just going to run through a couple of things. I've got my submission form here because I
As
number
the 100%
this
record
as the
long-listed,
100% record
shortlisted.
or
Yeah.
shortlisted. I've never won, but I've been shortlisted. So I've got I always write them down in Word first and then submit it because I'm old and I don't trust technology. And so in 2024, I was nominated with my mine and Karen McAllister's book, Daddy's Scared of Beasties. And in 2023, it was mine and Karen's book, My Family Is So Scottish. And they ask for sort of three things, really. They ask for your blurb, so your sales pitch about your book. They ask for a description about how you've been marketing your book as, as an indie publisher. That's really important. And then they ask for a bibliographical note, so like just about the author and the illustrator. And so those are the three things that they ask. And I think the first thing I would say is don't use ChatGPT to write your submission, because lots of people will, and they probably will be able to tell. Um, and also it won't have your voice and your storytelling voice. And at the end of the day, when you are submitting something for an award, you are a storyteller and you're an ambassador for your book. So you need to be selling it in the right way, and you need to be also sharing what your voice is, and how you tell your story. And you can't do that with ChatGPT. And so in my opinion.
Mm.
Um, so with the blurb, don't just use your blurb and put it in there. Have a think about, from a perspective of someone who is comparing other titles, what is it about your book that is really, really cool? So if you can, I think I used my blurb. If it's rhyming, then it's good to have a rhyming blurb. So I used a rhyming blurb, and then I basically had one sentence that says what it is. So I'll read out this sentence. Representing a diverse family of two mixed race dads, this funny and colourful illustrated book breaks gender stereotypes through a hilarious tale of mini beast versus daddy. So that is literally like what is special about your book.
Mm.
It's got two dads. It's sort of breaking gender stereotypes. It's funny. It's colourful. It's got bugs in it. That is one sentence that says all of that, and you can quickly pick up what your book is all about. So like really, really hone in, really focus on that one sentence, two sentences, and then talk about, what's the reading age. Like I've said, it's perfect for 3 to 6 year old mini beast lovers. So it's like, think about how, if someone was sort of going, flashing up books in front of your eyes for 3 seconds and trying to set that, what would they say? What are those snippets of information that they would say? Oh, you'd love this book. It's perfect for 3 to 6 year olds. You'd love this book. It's perfect for bug lovers. So like that's the other thing, is just have those snappy sentences so that people, when they read this, they'll have loads of submissions. So you want to be able to sort of go, what is it that my book is doing that's so special that makes it, worthwhile being shortlisted? So that's the have you got anything to add on, because you've done your submission?
I did, yeah. I can't benefit from Kirstin's advice at all because I've submitted.
We're not cheating.
Uh, we have this sort of stigma a little bit of self-published authors who bring out the book, nobody buys it, we don't put any effort into selling it. It's, maybe just a PDF on the internet somewhere,
Yeah.
So it's fighting that and showing, no, we publish these books, we sell huge quantities of them, we know what we're doing, we have a marketing plan.
Yeah.
So it's a lot about using that's what they're looking for, is that we are professionals and we are selling these books and we have a business. So it's having it
I love
throughout
that
it.
they have that. I love that they ask for sales figures. And what I would say, just moving on to that question about sales figures, when I did Beasties, I think it launched in July, and so that's already half the year gone, and I think I'd sold about 300, 400 by the time I got to the end of the year. And don't worry about your sales figures. You could, I mean, I was concerned about Pirate Penguin because that was launched at the end of October,
Mm.
and we sold 200 by the end of December. So but then that's projected sale figures of maybe 1,000 a year, which is great, because
Mm.
um so I wouldn't worry too much about the figures if your figures are quite low, but I would say it has to be backed up by a really strong campaign. So Emma,
Yeah.
your campaign with your National England, what is it?
Natural England, yeah.
Natural
So they're
England.
basically they're sort of a quango under DEFRA, so they're involved in policy making, and they have an initiative called Connecting People with Nature. And so the work I do sort of falls under that. So it's
Yeah.
outreach, education. So yeah, exactly. I've talked about working with them, the launch events done with them. So I've submitted for Our Living Soils, my most recent book, and that's even so. Part of what we do is they have 200 copies of the book which they use for outreach, which
Mm.
obviously there's two sides to this. One is that it's really important that we get what we wanted of children learning about this exciting habitat, but from a business perspective, it also means that people are coming across my work, which is wonderful. So those books are at events with lovers and have that dual potential for me, which is lovely.
I think that's a
And
great
then
way to get access to your target audience as well. It's a
mhm,
fantastic match, and I think that's a really brilliant way of showing how indie authors, our businesses, we can make these connections. We can, have these partnerships with these niche areas that the big publishers just wouldn't be interested in,
mhm,
quite frankly, and so that is a really, really good like sell.
yeah,
With Family is So Scottish, I had a partnership with um, the uh, the Underground, the Glasgow subway, and that was, very, very related to what the book was about. But a big publisher would not be interested in that. And with Beasties, I did a library tour of 13 libraries across South London, and it was for LGBTQ plus Awareness Month, and that is because it's an LGBTQ celebrated book. So it's think about all the things that you have done and are doing that connects your book to your target audience, because that's a marketing plan, right? That's basically what your marketing plan is. So if you don't have a partnership with a company, and if you don't have that, think about what you have done. What did you do your launch in your local library? Did you do your launch using your local bookstore? You know, did you give out books for free at your local high street? Just
yeah,
anything you can add that really helps you connect with the readers that are going to be best, placed to love your book. That's the bigger thing. I would say the other thing is, I'm not going to talk about the biographical note because I'm good at talking about myself. So I would just say, always, if you've got a quote from anyone about your book, put it in. I had a quote from Simon James Green. I had a quote from an influencer on Instagram. Just put that in, because that kind of gives your book that, external ambassadorship. And
mm,
also, when you're describing yourself, you can talk about your back catalogue. You can talk about how if you've published many books, you can talk about that. If this is your first book that you're publishing, you can talk about why you published that book. And so there's loads that you think about this as the ultimate sales pitch. Don't just sort of put the blurb in and submit and expect it to be
mhm.
accepted.
Yeah, and I think even if you are not submitting to awards, even if you are listening to us because you're just starting to write things, take this as a moment to consider your marketing plan,
Mm,
because books don't sell themselves. And posting on social media has limited reach. So think about and be creative with it. I think that's a lovely thing as creatives. Have fun. Both of us have hosted weird events and said yes to opportunities and tried things, and it's so much fun. It should be joyful. And then if you are submitting for an award, you have lots to say.
yeah,
um
exactly.
so now, so good luck to anyone entering, and with this award or any others, and give it a go. And hopefully, it's very beneficial to everybody who does. Before we finish, we just wanted to say it's always worth being aware of any like National Day of whatever or week of this. So it could
Yeah.
be things related to your book or book related. And there's one next week. It is National Storytelling Week in the UK, I think.
Yes, from the 2nd, which
So
is Monday, isn't it? Yeah.
yeah, so you can be considering this if you are writing social media posts. It's going to be a good time for using hashtags, using things tying into it, for just jumping on people's energy around that, whatever the topic is. In this case, it's storytelling. But yeah, I think take advantage. So this is National Storytelling Week.
Yep.
Have a look, find any that are specific. So for me, I look at World Ocean Day on the 8th of
Yep.
June. um, you have Burns Night.
Barnes Night, and in January there's lots of different penguin themed, Antarctic themed things. There's LGBTQ History Month, and there's LGBTQ Awareness Month. So there's quite a few things for me on my book. There's obviously Halloween for my Halloween themed books. For national storytelling, this is quite exciting, especially for us, seeing as we are rhyming books. We have rhyming books. This is a focus on making music. And I am in San Francisco, and I've brought some of my books with me, but I've got limited time to create content. So my focus will be reusing content that I have done, especially my vampire song. And
Yeah.
I this is my campaign to get Emma's period song back out there, because I think that's a great way of storytelling, Emma. So
Yeah, it is the one thing I will be remembered for in my teaching career, is the period song.
get it out
Um,
there. It's a great way to tell stories.
but this is it. I mean, going back to the beginning of what we said, that books should be joyful, learning should be joyful. We are creatives. We should have fun. Let's not be stuffy and boring and same old, and not listen to what people want to do, and listen to ourselves and what we would like to do. So yeah, creativity, I guess, is the sum of what we've said today.
Yeah, circling right back to the beginning. So, yeah, thank you so much. And thank you for those that have commented about our content.
Yeah.
That's really good to know. It's really lovely. I mean, we're just doing this because we love a good chat between authors. It's probably going to get more and more deranged as we go
Yeah.
on. But it's been lovely to chat with you, Emma. And I'm going to go and have my
You too.
breakfast now.
Yeah, thank you so much. And very quickly before we sign off, I will just say, whether you are catching this on YouTube or on our new Spotify thing, I'm going to copy the RSS feed to other places. We'll turn up in places wherever you are. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so
And
much.
if you're watching this on one platform and think, oh, I'd quite like it to be on another one, it will be. But if you want a specific one, just let us know, and then you can listen to it where you would like to. So we're enjoying this. We want to keep going. So yeah, thank you so much, and
Thank you.
enjoy the nice weather, Kirstin.
I will. I'll try. I'll try not to be in the hotel the whole time. Bye.
All
Bye,
right, bye
everyone.
everyone.